050-164-5180 or 0302-798-829. SkySat Technologies. Performance that delivers every time.
Hello, my name is Pamela from Customer Service. Please revalidate your account by texting your Ghana card number to 0500,247.
Hey, Abili, wabedim.
Madam, give me the numbers behind your ATM card. I'm calling from the head office.
An email was delivered across to our customers this morning.
Confirm if this is your bank account. 100,100,100.
Thanks for sending your bank card details.
Send the OTP now to avoid cancellation.
EcoBank will never call, email, send an SMS asking for your PIN, OTP, bank card, or Ghana card details.
Don't get played. EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank.
Hello, please, I'm calling from Customer Experience Center.
My name is John Dalcon, MP for Swami constituency. Fortunately, my democracy is not for sale. I hope yours is also not for sale.
Late night study session, endless assignments, and now these urchins and mosquitoes.
You guys are sitting here just saying, have you done the assignment Mr. Pachi gave us?
How do we do this assignment?
These mosquitoes. Let me quickly upload this and deal with these mosquitoes.
See miracle.
Abro mosquito spray. Solution to keep your home mosquito free.
Mom, this is what I call a good night's sleep.
Oh yes, baby. With Abra Mosquito Spray, you get to sleep comfortably and wake up refreshed.
Marketed and distributed by Kosharish Ghana Limited, number 5 Sprintex Road, Accra, Ghana. Please call 0243-690-066. Abra Mosquito Spray. One blast, total protection.
Palladium Residences in Achimota isn't just an address, it's the home you truly earned. Secure your place with just a 10% deposit and choose from beautifully designed modern apartments or spacious townhouses built for everyday comfort. This is more than a building. It's a vibrant, curated community with a clubhouse, state-of-the-art gym, and an on-site hotel, all at ABC Junction, minutes from Achimota Mall. Enjoy city energy while retreating to your private sanctuary. Call now to reserve your unit and benefit from limited launch incentives, including priority unit selection, executive pricing, and flexible payment options available. Don't miss the chance to pick the best homes. Book your private site visit today. Call 050-9823-424. Palladium Residences. Live smart, invest better.
In Biggie's house, there's no place to hide. And even when you think no one is watching, the energy can swing in an instant. This BB Naija Season 11. Everything burns brighter. Only the biggest moves tip the scale. Because nothing is given. But everything is for the taking when the world watches. Will you be outshined, or will you step up and take the spotlight? Big Brother Naija Season 11 starts Sunday, July 26th, showing 24/7 on DSTV Channel 198 and GoTV Channel 49. Headline sponsor, Bet Power.
Yeah. Let's shout for joy in infants As the historic sesquicentennial celebrations roll on, Infante Pim invites all old boys, associates, and the general public to the prestigious second Infante Pim 150th anniversary lecture. This is not just a lecture, it is a masterclass for national transformation. Addressing a nation at a crossroad, we are honored to present the distinguished Dr. Mohammed Ibn Chambers, renowned international diplomat and statesman. He will be dissecting a theme critical to our collective future, educating for peace, democracy, and responsible citizenship. Date Wednesday, 29 July 2026. Time 5:30 p.m. prompt. Venue the Accra Ridge Church Hall. To every old boy, every partner, every citizen who believes in the future of Ghana and Africa, this is where you need to be. Block your diaries, clear your schedules, make it your number one priority. Join the conversation that shapes tomorrow. Infante Pim at 150. Vin Chekan.
Welcome to the program. The Supreme Court struck down Ghana's long-standing political party delegate system, ruling that all registered members of political parties must be given the opportunity to vote in the party's internal elections. The landmark decision, which could fundamentally reshape the way political parties select leaders and parliamentary and presidential candidates, gives political parties 1 year to bring their internal electoral systems in line with the ruling. The Apex Court also delivered another major judgment with significant implications for Ghana's fight against corruption. They dismissed a challenge to the prosecutorial powers of the OSP. Well, the ruling effectively affirms the OSP's authority to independently prosecute corruption and related offences, resolving a major constitutional dispute over the extent of its powers. Well, let's start with the OSP case, and one man was in court for us, Fatal Bayaga. He's joining me in the studio for more on this. Fatal, what's the background of this case, first of all?
Ken, on December 10, 2025, private legal practitioner Noah Ephraim Adante went to the Supreme Court. Basically, he was challenging the prosecutorial powers of the OSP. In fact, he said that Parliament passing the OSP Act, 2017 Act 959, said that it was inconsistent with the Constitution, particularly when you look at Article 88, 3 and 4 of the 1992 Constitution. In fact, that article vests the power in the other prosecutorial powers in the Attorney General to prosecute cases. And in fact, if you are an individual or an organization that is going to prosecute cases on behalf of the state, you need to get authorization or express authorization from the Attorney General's office. So basically, he in that particular application was saying that the OSP cannot prosecute, and its act was inconsistent with the Constitution, and therefore wanted the Supreme Court to say that the Attorney General is the body that is mandated by the law to prosecute. And in fact, even before the Supreme Court could make a decision on this matter, something very big happened in April this year, where the General Jurisdiction 10 of the Accra High Court, in fact, went ahead to strip the powers of the OSP when one of the accused persons in the rice scandal, Peter Archibald High, went to the court and said that, when I look at the Constitution, the OSP's act is inconsistent with it, and I believe that the OSP cannot prosecute me because the OSP did not get express authorization from the Attorney General's office and all of that. So the trial judge, John, Eugene Nyante, basically upheld that and then stripped the OSP of his power. So basically, this has been some of the things that have happened so far. In fact, in January, the OSP itself wanted to be part of this case, but Ken, guess what happened? The Supreme Court said that you cannot be part of it because this is a suit challenging your own powers, and that the plaintiff and then the Attorney General could determine, this particular case. Then later, some 14 CSOs filed as amici curiae. That's simply friends of the court. They say that they understand this case very well and they could help the court in determining this matter. So they were admitted as friends of the court, and they have followed this case till it got to its end today.
Interesting. And what was the basis of the court's decision?
So basically, the 7-member panel presided over by Chief Justice Paul Bafoboni basically is saying that at the moment, the OSP can go and prosecute its high-profile cases. But let me just take you through some of the things that have happened. So in that unanimous decision, the Supreme Court held that since the Attorney General holds exclusive prosecutorial power, the OSP can prosecute, but the Attorney General can at any time discontinue the prosecutions initiated by the OSP. And in fact, the Supreme Court also, in this decision said that all prosecutions, and all convictions that have been made by the OSP, including the freezing orders secured by the OSP, remain valid. This is what the Supreme Court is saying. And also in the judgment today, the Apex Court held that Section 3 and 4 of Act 959 were not inconsistent with or in contravention of the 1992 Constitution and were therefore not void, as the private legal practitioner Noah Ephraim Adamte puts it. So basically, one would say that's 50-50 here, right? The OSP can prosecute, but the Attorney General will serve as the man or the authority that will check the work of the OSP. So at any point in time, the Attorney General can discontinue some of the cases being prosecuted by the OSP and then enter into a null prosecutor. So basically, this is what it means today.
You also got some reactions from the lawyers and anti-corruption crusaders who sent this to court. What have they been telling you?
Yes, they have been following this particular case keenly because they want the anti-corruption bodies to fight so hard, and OSP was in the middle of this whole thing. So they were in court in their numbers to, monitor what will happen at the Supreme Court. And in fact, when they moved out of the Supreme Court, beams of smiles all over their faces because, they said that this is a good step for the nation and that at the moment, the OSP can go back to prosecute some of these high-profile cases. We're talking about SML involving former Finance Minister Kenneth Gyasi, talking about the MPA case involving former boss Mustafa Abdul Hamid, among other high-profile cases. So they said that this is a good step for the nation. The lawyers themselves said that yes, it's good for the nation, but there still need to be, or based on what they are reading from the court's judgment, there's still some need for maybe some review or changes in order to make sure that the OSP operates seamlessly. We can listen to them.
The court is done is essentially preserve the AG's power to oversee all prosecutions. I mean, the thesis of a lot of people understand that the current constitutional framework placed limits on how far Parliament could have gone on some of these questions. And the way forward, I think the court gives us a clear direction that we need constitutional reform to fix some of the issues that have come up.
So nothing the OSP has done so far is invalidated. I hope you understand that. Nothing has been invalidated. Any decision of any court, as they were unequivocal about, as it were, faulting the OSP and its processes, all do not matter anymore.
The unanimous verdict was very important because it sort of reaffirms our understanding of what had happened, that yes, the OSP needs authorization because the AG has exclusive authority to prosecute, and that authorization was given, if you see in the regulations that was done. So we didn't see a problem with it.
This is a big win for us because remember, our position has been very specific that in the past we have not been able to fight corruption because of the challenges the Attorney General is posed with. And so we were very clear in our minds that until we had a constitutional review process that changed the rules of the game, the best route was to set up an office that is prosecutorially independent to ensure that we execute the fight against corruption.
Well, let's stay a while at the Supreme Court because the Apex Court also delivered a verdict on the long-standing political party delegate system. And Fatal Bayaga is still with me in the studio. He covered that as well. Fatal, let's begin with the background of this case as well.
So this case was brought by former Lands and Natural Resources Minister, Environment Minister, Professor Frimpong Boateng, and another plaintiff is Dr. Nyao Tamakolo and also Dr. Christian Amwako Nuema. These were the plaintiffs in this particular case. And in fact, according to them, over the period, the parties relying on the delegate system to elect their internal or their officers. In fact, they say that gives room for corruption and other, things that are not good for Ghana's democracy. They wanted expanded among other things. So basically, this was the reason they went to the Supreme Court. The LPG later in the case wanted to join. They said that the decision that the Supreme Court would take would affect them directly, and for that reason, they wanted to be part of this case in order to defend. But the Supreme Court, at the time, said that the LPG was coming in late. In fact, they didn't meet the right time frame. For that reason, they were not admitted as a party to this particular case. So basically, this is the brief background to this very high-profile case, Ken.
Right. Give us how the Supreme Court ruled on this.
So this is very interesting, presided over by Chief Justice himself, Paul Bafubani. In fact, in that very ruling, they say that they are reading into the application brought by these plaintiffs. They say that if you look at how the political parties are ruling, or they are undertaking their elections, basically it gives room for corruption among other things. In fact, a lot of people are not given the opportunity to vote. Meanwhile, they are good standing within their various political parties. So the Supreme Court basically ruled that this application brought by the plaintiffs is upheld, and that all the political parties in the next year should begin to implement this. If they are going for their internal elections, they should make sure that every good standing member of the party is given the opportunity to vote in their internal elections. So basically, briefly, that's what the Supreme Court says.
Fatal Bayaga, thank you very much for that update. Well, let's go on to Zoom right now and speak to Dr. Jonathan Asante Ochre. He's a political analyst. Rashid Tanko Computer is the Deputy Director of Elections and IT with the governing NDC. Gentlemen, thank you very much for your time this afternoon. We're also trying to connect with the MPP as well. Rashid, let me begin with you. What do you make of this landmark ruling by the Supreme Court? Fair?
Very well. Let me say good afternoon to you and your cherished viewers across the globe. As a party, the NDC, for us, we consider it to be fair. We don't have any issues with it. Somewhere 2014, 2015, the NDC piloted similar structure in electing our parliamentary candidates. But then we were using the biometric system where we printed booklets and sent them to our regions for the capturing of our members in order to compile registers and use them to elect. Although we have some challenges with it, looking at the way it was organized. But we actually wanted to decentralize and make sure that all our membership will participate in the voting of our candidates. And so the NDC is in the forefront in this kind of system. And then so we only suspended it somewhere along the line. But if you look at this year, we actually started preparing our minds towards this in the sense that we knew time to come, there's likelihood that we might be forced to allow every party member to participate in our democratic process. So this year, February, we opened our registers for members to go who want to be party members. We didn't have this in mind. Even at that time, there was nothing of that sort. We captured our party members, all right, used the data to elect our branch. We just concluded the branch elections as of last week and compiled our list. And so for now, at the NDC, we are okay with it. We are fine with it. We have our data. To implement the decision of the Supreme Court will not be a difficult one for us.
Then there's the concern that Meaning that now that more people can be allowed to vote, it means the party will have to spend a lot of money and resources to organize these elections. Is that not a worry for you that you are going to have to spend more to organize your elections than you did before?
Well, that is an aspect of the issue. Of course, it's going to be a costly organization for we, the political party, to organize such an election. Albert, I mean, we want to deepen the democratic credentials of our political parties. The Supreme Court, which happen to be the apex court of the land, has spoken. And then we have to find ways and means of getting resources to get. This shows that now that party members are going to participate fully in deciding who leads the parliamentary charge and the presidential, it means you need to pay your dues. We have to strengthen that aspect because it is the membership dues that we will have to use to organize this. And then now that you know that you have a voice, you have a role in electing senior officials of the party, then that shows that this is a time for party members to make good in payment of their dues. And we have to make sure that we strengthen that aspect to help us organize this type of elections.
Rashid, don't go yet. I'll come back to you. Also, Dr. Jonathan Asante-Okyere is a political analyst. He's also joining the conversation. I'll come back to you as well, Dr. Asante-Okyere. But let me go to Martin Kpegbu, who is a private legal practitioner, more so because he is in court and has excused himself to join the conversation. Martin, there was another landmark ruling at the Supreme Court today which says that the OSP can retain its prosecutorial powers. What do you make of it?
Yeah, Mr. Gyasi. Good. The decision is a good one. It's a good one, but the fight was not just about retaining the prosecutorial powers. The fight is whether the OSP1 should always go for a new permission. Let's use ordinary words. A new authorization,
right,
or a new permission in starting every case. So from the conclusion the Supreme Court read, it means that they didn't state that for every case you should go and collect authorization. We didn't hear that. Remember, we are yet to get a full judgment. But then, even though that wasn't stated, there is a key part that the Supreme Court held that it's only the Attorney General who has the power to prosecute. And so the responsibility for prosecution lies with him. So it means that at any point, the Attorney General can write to the OSP to tell him that, look, I hear you are doing this one and this one, stay off it. And if the OSP refuses and even goes to court to file such a thing, the AG can go to court and stop it. And that's very good for us because now the Special Prosecutor Kisi Ejabin can be held in check. Remember, this whole lawsuit arose because he would not obey the Attorney General. He was deluding himself that the office is very independent of the Attorney General. This is what started the whole lawsuit. He was deluding himself, he and one other officer, saying that no, they are totally independent, which is false. And so when we're trying to do the Eduboah hearing case, the Attorney General asked for the file, and the Special Prosecutor refused and was frustrating the Attorney General. So this lawsuit has now put the Special Prosecutor in his right place, that he's under the Attorney General. Mm-hmm. And so the Attorney General will supervise him, like I was saying before the lawsuit. So it is not just a case that the Special Prosecutor retains prosecutorial powers. The retention was not the fight. The fight was, is he supposed to be supervised by the Attorney General? That is yes, a resounding yes. That's what the Supreme Court is saying. So now it means that anything you see that he's doing which is untoward, then you can report to the Attorney General, his boss, and the Attorney General can put him in his right place. That's very, very important. Let's not forget the High Court decision that the Justice Eugene Nyante gave. The underbelly of it is the abuse of the prosecutorial power. Somebody who is close to the Special Prosecutor was using the Special Prosecutor to prosecute those young men of a matter that should not be prosecuted. That's how come they went to the High Court and got that judgment. Now, with the Supreme Court decision, you can expect that those guys will petition the Attorney General over their grievance with Gyasi Ejabe. And I'm sure that once Dr. Ayene, knowing the fair person that he is, he will stop that prosecution. So the office, with time, Dr. Ayene will check Gyasi Ejabe to stop using the office, abusing the office. The abuses are what we want to check. Now, Mr. Gyasi, I don't know if you are going to ask me this, but because you will not always get an Attorney General who is trustworthy, it means that let's go back to the original advocacy. The original advocacy is that we want an independent office of special prosecutor. Gyasi Prempeh has attempted something in his recommendations. So I would call for a vigorous national debate so that we will see how to flesh it. Right. Because you see, when you read the Gyasi Prempeh report, those are general conclusions. They've not shown the things that we need to be able to hold the special prosecutor to account. So anytime now we say independence, we should also be talking about accountability. The fact that somebody is appointed special prosecutor doesn't mean that automatically he becomes an angel. No. The current special prosecutor's tenure shows you that the special prosecutor himself can aid people, like how we aided Ofori-Atta to travel. Ofori-Atta fled. You see my arrest, the abuse of the power. So the abuses are what we should be checking, and many other cases. If you read my petition to President Mahama for the removal of Gyasi Ejabe, you, Ken Gyasi, you will even take the lead to say you want to remove him yourself. The abuses are too many. They are too many. So this decision by the Supreme Court is an interim measure. It's a welcome relief, but it cannot solve the problem. So let's look at how to reform the law to make the office more independent and more accountable.
Interim relief, you say, but many are also skeptical about this ruling, more so because the Attorney General is a government appointee, is essentially a government's lawyer, and they are raising concerns that there could be an investigation that the OSP is embarking upon, which could include government appointees. Now that the Attorney General has the authority to quash some of these cases that are being investigated by the OSP, how soon or how long should we wait until we get a permanent solution to this?
Excellent. So the conversation has resumed again. You remember, before the Supreme Court took their decision, this is what we're saying. So the Gyasi Prempeh report, the president says they are going to give their position paper. I can foresee that, that one, the president, they will agree, because we all agree that we need to fight corruption. And Ken Gyasi, so it means that let's wait. Earlier this week at the UPSA, the 150th anniversary celebration of the Supreme Court, the Vice President mentioned that the government's position paper will be delivered soon. So we hope that that one, it will be upheld, that the office will become independent, but some of the changes we'll be making will be the accountability of the special prosecutor himself. I can just see, from where I said, please, now I'm tired of this statement that just because an Attorney General is a government appointee, he cannot fight corruption. That is a mindset we use. And so we didn't put in checks to check the special prosecutor. We're just thinking that, apart from the Attorney General, if you employ any other lawyer, assuming he qualifies, all the qualifications, as soon as you employ any other lawyer as special prosecutor, he will be independent and he will be an angel. I'm telling you that the way Gyasi Ejabe allowed Ofori-Atta to flee, and the other abuses, arresting people and abusing professors. Look, the list is endless. Prosecuting by abusing the powers, etc. It's a hard lesson to us that we should be thinking, how do we craft a law that, assuming a special prosecutor himself will be aiding and abetting corrupt people, how do you deal with such a special prosecutor? That is how we should be thinking. What law should we put in place that when a special prosecutor comes and is aiding and abetting suspects to flee Ghana, is aiding and abetting certain persons, you prosecute people who are, enemies to his friends. All those abuses. That is what we should be thinking. But please, there is no space anymore for saying that just because somebody is an attorney general appointed by the president, that one is bad. And ipso facto, any other person who is appointed special prosecutor, just because he has the title special prosecutor, then that one is an angel. Please, we've learned our lessons hard way. We've learned it very, very, very costly. You know what the fleeing of Oforiatta out of Ghana has done to our system? This is a very bitter lesson. So let nobody tell me Attorney General is an appointee of the president. No. Look beyond that. What is the character? What law are we going to put in place that the character of the special prosecutor will be held in check so that the right thing will be done? That is where the fight is. Not that somebody is, you will find an attorney general, though appointed by the president, but he's fair. He's quite fair, and he can be a better person in terms of fairness than a special prosecutor. So let's not dwell on the attorney general is an appointee of the president. No, that doesn't solve the problem.
Let's narrow it down to Dominic Ayine, the current attorney general. Looking at all the qualities that you've mentioned, that we need an attorney general with those qualities to ensure that the checks and balances are put in place at the office of the special prosecutor. Do you think Dominic Ayine is up to the task?
Absolutely. At least for now, I can tell you that Dominic Ayine is up to the task. Once President Mahama is giving him the backing, he will deliver. Yes, Ayine is up to the task. And you see, it's not just do I think. You see, we've known Ayine for decades. Ayine was my teacher as far back as sometime 1999. Then I went to law school, etc. And you know, the legal community is a small community. So, Gyasi, it's not everything I can tell you, but all of us, we know our characters behind the scenes, what people will say. So when you say Pebu, behind the scenes, that's what they'll tell you. Oh, Pebu is like this, like this. So I need to behind his back, will say, oh, he's like this, he's like this. But when you put everything together.
Hello, Martin, do I have you?
You rank Ayine 5 prosecutor.
Right, carry on.
So the right person to supervise Gyasi Agyabe at this time.
Okay, let's look at the Office of the Special Prosecutor.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, sir. Can you hear me too? Hello, Martin, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, let's look at the Office of the Special Prosecutor.
Yes, absolutely.
Let's look at the Office of the Special Prosecutor now. Do you feel that the approach in which they tackle some cases will change because they would want to be careful? Or do you think that they will be gagged and will try to abandon some cases because they know that when they try to follow those cases, they will eventually be quashed by the Attorney General? Do you think the approach to cases will now change?
Yes, in a positive manner. The approach will change in a positive manner because the ones that he is abusing the office, doing prosecutions to help his friends, etc., he will be careful because he knows that when he takes on a person like that, the person can petition the Attorney General and the Attorney General can look into it. I don't see gagging. Look, what will happen is that, yes, of course, I would say Dominic Ayine is an angel. So assuming maybe there's a special case that Dominic Ayine too has an interest in it and he wants it not prosecuted, always remember that is why, Ken Gyasi, you are occupying your seat. The media, the fourth estate, Ghana has a very vibrant media. So hopefully that thing will be leaked. It will be leaked. That case will be leaked to the media. Like Gyasi Agyabe is trying to prosecute this person, and yet the Attorney General is stonewalling, etc. So then the media will deal with it, and the consequences will be brutal. So I think that this is fair in the interim because, as I've stated, we are now going to attempt to. So we should make do with the current situation where Ayine will do the supervision. It's not bad, at least. Yes, I think for now, I have no cause to doubt Ayene. No, I don't have. Of course, but we also know that he's human. So, look, JC, let's speak bluntly. We are not saying that out of 100 cases, it will never happen that maybe there's one that Ayene may have a soft spot. But it's a scale. You see, let's be careful. We are not saying any of us is an angel. It's a scale. So that's why I said that we all have our reputations behind our backs, what people say. Ayene will be okay. It's a scale. It's a scale of the abuse. So for now, because we are human, that's why I say let's take this one for now, and then we can continue to clamor for the law reform so that in the new constitution, the special prosecutor will be truly independent of the Attorney General, but the special prosecutor too will be accountable to the citizens. We want to put in place things that will ensure that the special prosecutor is not a thing God. Look, Ken Gyasi, do you know that as we speak, well, I don't know about the last 2 weeks, but do you know that for over a year, the Office of Special Prosecutor, there's no board. Ken Gyasi, your company has a board of directors. Special prosecutor, there's no board for over a year. So Kise Jabi is running the show alone. It's not happy to have a board. It's not happy to have a board. You have no idea. You see, this Supreme Court decision is a welcome relief. For over 1 year, the Office of Special Prosecutor has no board because the Special Prosecutor doesn't want a board. He doesn't want a board. He wants to run the show by himself. And we see that, meanwhile, we can't trust him because he allowed Ofori-Atta to flee. Apart from that, when the Ofori-Atta case was even presented to him, for over 1 year, he didn't investigate it. He sat on it. He was suppressing the case. Jesse, in case Ghanaians have forgotten, we can Google. You'll find the diary of action that Manasseh Awone Azuri produced. It showed that for over a year, they were not investigating the case. They started investigating the case when Ofori-Atta, after Ofori-Atta had fled, 29th of January 2025. By then, Ofori-Atta had left somewhere around 5th of January 2025.
Right.
So about 25 or 24 days after Ofori-Atta left, that was when they started investigating the case. Please. So this matter is serious. It's serious. The Supreme Court,
Okay, Martin, Pebu, thank you very much. He's a lawyer there giving us those analysis. Thank you very much for your time, as always. Well, let's bring you another matter of major concern, another ruling that happened at the Supreme Court earlier. It's about the court ruling that political parties now have to allow all card-bearing members to participate in internal elections. And as I mentioned earlier, I have Dr. Jonathan Asante-Okyere. He's a political analyst and the director of the African Institute of Strategic Studies. I also have Rashid Tanko Computer. He's the deputy director of elections and IT with the governing ND. Haruna Mohammed is also joining the conversation. He's the Deputy General Secretary of the opposition NPP. Haruna, welcome to the show. You are just joining us. Dr. Jonathan Asante-Okyere, let me come to you. What do you make of this ruling? Do you think it's a good decision?
Let me say good afternoon to your viewers and to your good self. It's an interesting, decision from the Supreme Court, if you asked me. Because it has some ramifications that the political parties will have to deal with that. And my brother Tanko Computer said a few things, and I believe he was right about that. But as to whether the NDC is equally ready for something of that sort, well, you can never tell. The problem is always the devil in the detail, because now when you begin to implement such, a decision, that is when you realize that it is not that simple and difficult. And I'm of the view that the practicalization of such, a decision is where the problem lies. When the vulnerable citizens, of old age went to the Supreme Court seeking such interpretation, I was an advocate of that particular position because, in actual fact, the Supreme Court is aware of the sentiments that Ghanaians have expressed with respect to the delegate system. One, the corruptibility, as it were, delegates demanding this, demanding that. Politicians are compelled, as it were, to do A, B, C, and D, and it is choking them. And so it is obviously going to be, in the interim, a welcome decision. That is one. Two, the other thing that the Supreme Court intended to cure was the fact that the general electorate felt that, well, those individuals that you brought, these are not the persons that we think ought to be on the ticket of this and that. Therefore, if you have gone to take your fridges and television sets and other things, then obviously go and vote for that individual. We are not taking part. And so it was just like some people are disenfranchised when it comes to the decision as to who represents who on that particular political party. But you see, if you look at that situation, at the end of the day, the cost implication has not, been dealt with. So the Supreme Court decision is more theoretical than practical. So the practicality is the fact that, one, I'm very sure in the not too distant future, if we are to implement this in its full capacity, it will affect the minority parties because they will not have the wherewithal to organize such elections. Remember, the state is not financing these political parties.
Okay.
Then you have a cynical position as to the fact that, well, you want to belong to this political party. These are rules and regulations. So why must it be the case that the Supreme Court will want to impose something of that sort on us? But then, the other thing too is that, well, it is not only delegates who are members of the party. There are others who are members, and they are full-paying members of the political party. Why are they not taking part in the decision-making process? So that is what the Supreme Court thinks otherwise, that, look, if you want to cure some of these ailments that I've spoken about, then certainly there is a need for that expanded version of delegate. Remember, even when it is expanded, it's still going to be a delegate system. And it does not in any way cure the problem. Because if I'm a politician and I'm contesting with other 4 candidates, making it 5, I can still target those who are qualified to vote and still pay my way out or pay my way through. I can decide to take 40% of the number and leave the 60 for the other 4 to compete. And that in itself will ensure that I win. And so I think that if the willingness of the giver is not there, there can never be a receiver. So probably it will solve a problem where you have a huge number and you're going to find it difficult to bribe your way through. But in any case, it will still create some kind of monstrous problem for the minority parties, including the 2 major political parties, that is the NDC and the MPP. It will still be, a Herculean task for them to scale, because the EC, when the EC is conducting internal primaries or elections for the various political parties, you have to finance that, and not the state.
Dr. Asante-Okyere, don't go yet. Let me bring in Haruna Mohammed of the NPP. Haruna, how is your party receiving this ruling by the Supreme Court?
Kenneth, I would have to say good afternoon to your cherished viewers and followers over your social media, and good afternoon to my co-panelists on the line. Yesterday, we've heard of the ruling from the Supreme Court with respect to this particular matter that has been brought before the Supreme Court. They have pronounced judgment on it, and we've had discussions with our legal counsel with respect to this. We appeared in court. On the first day, I represented the party at the Supreme Court with regards to this particular matter. We as a party, following this particular ruling, have had the cause to start something literally to be able to bring everybody on board, which we call the OMO. The party initiated a certain process after we had lost the election. The Professor Michael Quay's report had made recommendations to that particular effect and indicated that we should start with a limited expansion. So the party moved ahead to do a limited expansion to include former appointees, former party executives, former MMDCs, and a whole number of people, including patrons of our party in the TESCOM institutions that exist in the country. So we've done some number of expansions, which is one of the recommendations in Professor Michael Quay's report. The report has also indicated that we should have an expansion to be able to get everybody on board in terms of members of the party. So we initiated in March, where we have asked every party member to go to your polling station and register. We have digitalized that particular platform, and if you check the party constitution, we are supposed to do so in every 6 months to validate all these particular names that have been entered. So we have fortified ourselves and made sure that we are making a step to ensure we are able to get every member of the party who are in good standing to vote in the processes of electing these particular stages, that is the parliamentary and the presidential primaries. So the ruling of the Supreme Court will only lead the party to double our steps to ensure that we accomplish what we have started, and we are able to do it and do it very well.
As we speak right now, Haruna, how many members are card-bearing members of the NPP? And you mentioned something that is very peculiar. You say that you ensure that those who are in good standing of the party will participate in this. How many members do you have as card-bearing members of the NPP?
Oh, the last time we opened up the nomination, the opening of the registration for members, we have gotten over 3 million who have registered and also paid their dues. You see, when you are a member of a political party, or you are a registered member of the political party, much as you have registered, there are ingredients to be able to make you a member in good standing, to make you eligible to vote. So much as you register, there are other things that you have to do for your eligibility to stand. Just in the legal profession, if you are a lawyer and you don't continuously renew your license, you will not be able to practice. If you are a nurse or a doctor and you don't continue to renew your license, you cannot continue to practice. So in every registered society, such as political parties, we pay dues. And once you are able to pay dues and other financial obligations that are put on you, then you are considered as a member in good standing. So there are, even currently, the delegate system we have, there are delegates who are not eligible to vote.
Right.
Because they have not been able to pay up their financial obligations. So it is not absolutely true that once you are a delegate or if you are a registered member, you have the right to vote. There are things that you have to do, or processes or steps that you have to do to ensure that your right to vote is being enforced within the remit of the constitution of the party. So this is something that must be made very clear for everybody to know.
And out of that 3 million people who have registered to be card-bearing members of your party, how many of them are in good standing as we speak?
Unless I get the opportunity to do the segregation and be able to give the accurate data. But remember, we have closed the nomination to people. Many people still want to register. We want to finish with the internal election so that we'll be able to get more members to register on board, because the period in which we have put the registration in, many were not able to travel down to their various constituencies to register, and many also went online and did the registration. We need to verify at each stage all member registration to be able to push them into the album of the party so that we can have an accurate data that is a true representative of what we have gathered.
Right, I asked for the numbers because obviously, per this ruling, that means that the number of people who are eligible to elect leaders in your party and that of NDC and all other political parties in the country is going to go up. More numbers means more resources, more money is committed to these electoral processes. Is your party in the capacity to be able to hold elections which involves all members who are in good standing? Wouldn't you be financially incapacitated? That is the worry of many.
Well, you are right, because this is something that all political parties have been talking about. If you look at the Political Parties Act, it is something that ties up the hands of political parties. We are not able to do business. We cannot generate income. We can't do anything. But there is very little that the government does in terms of financing of political parties. This is going to bring a cost element in terms of how our elections are being conducted, and then how the political parties are going to carry themselves. This calls for the government to stretch these arms to be able to assist political parties. If you say this, it's not only about the bigger political parties. All the smaller political parties need assistance to be able to achieve these particular directives. And that is why we had indicated that we are going to do it step by step by starting with limited expansion so that we'll be able to get to the right destination. But however you reflect the point, definitely the political parties some support from the state to be able to achieve it entirely. Else, there is going to be something that is going to be very difficult when it comes to the time of voting.
Haruna, don't go yet. I still have Rashid Tanko Computer with me. He's the Deputy Director of IT and Elections with the governing NDC. Rashid, Haruna tells me that as of recent memory, there are about 3 million registered members of the NPP. How many are there in the NDC?
Well, in fact, we are very close to almost 6 million people. Because the party is very attractive, the NDC is very, very attractive currently across the country, day in, day out. When we opened the register in February, we saw the influx of members coming in, large numbers of the youth and the middlemen, especially the educated elite, all running to take up positions. Even as we speak now, in our recently held branch elections, we had managing directors and then high-level professionals contesting to be considered branch executives. Unprecedented. We've never had that before. So about 5 million plus members on our database. It's something that we are very pleased with, very happy. The large number of people who have decided to join the NDC.
Your colleague Haruna Mohammed is calling for government support for political parties to be able to run and function effectively. Do you support that call?
Why should government use state resources to run political party? These are your own parties. You have decided to form your political party to do your own business, and you want us to use state resources to fund your activities. Why do you have party members? Let them pay their dues. They have dues. We use our party dues. Our party members, we charge them. We make sure that they pay our members. When we did the branch elections, we made sure that everybody who participated in the branch election had to pay. We billed them and made them to pay. So the elections that we conducted for the branches, we used all the fees paid from aspirant candidates as well as those who are going to vote, that branch members. You should be a paid-up member. And so we use our internal generated resources to run our activities. And it has served us better over the years. When we were putting up the democratic structures together in the early 90s, 92, 96, I remember, yes, the government then, through NCC, was helping the political parties. And then the Electoral Commission too was helping the political party in terms of training of their party agents. That was the time we were still nurturing our democracy and all that. I remember there was on NIVA pickups, vehicles, small NIVAs was given to us as parties to run our activities and all that through NCC and all that. But we have come of age. We have come of age. We have come of age. Political party activity is more business-like. Okay, you have a stake in it. And so people have to contribute towards it. I don't think why the state should use its resources. Why should the state use its resources to manage some people's own interests that they have put themselves together to win political power and govern? Why? Why should the state do that?
Rashid, don't go yet. Dr. Asante Okyere is still with me. Dr. Okyere, what do you make of this, defining opinions, divided over whether or not government should support political parties? The NPP says yes, the NDC says no. What do you say?
Well, I think it's a matter of when you are in opposition and in government. Obviously, when in opposition, you definitely invite state, financing of a sort. But if you find yourself in government, you think that you have at your disposal, certain benefit, and so you are speaking from different, angles altogether. I've listened to both sides, and then, well, from Mr. Haruna's perspective, it means that the party will still have the decision to determine who is a delegate and who qualifies part in the voting process, which will probably not be different from the NDC. I doubt if the NDC will have that 6 million that Mr. Computer is saying. Maybe he may have to check, because unless maybe the neutrals, the undecided, the floating all decided to register for the NDC, of course we know it's reflected in the national elections, but I have my letter that maybe the number is a bit exaggerated. It could even be so with respect to Mr. Haruna's numbers that is equally quoted. 3 million, and if everybody is paying their dues, you wouldn't need any state funding. But then the other thing too is that if people are paying dues for the political parties, how accountable are they to these individuals who have paid it and they belong? How accountable are they to these people? I don't think that has always been the case. Maybe at the individual level, at the branch level, those who would have collected the dues would have displayed the amount that they had raised and so on and so forth. But in terms of general accountability, I'm yet to see something of that sort. I still think the practicalization, of this particular ruling on the part of the Supreme Court is something that is going to be a challenge to the political parties. It may, in the end, wipe off the minority parties, because there's definitely going to be more court cases. Because if at any point in time somebody feels disenfranchised, feels peeved at the process, they will end up in court, injunctions here and there. And then people will be citing this particular ruling that the Supreme Court would have put forth. I think that the political parties will have to sit down and see how they will be able to actualize this, because the Supreme Court will not give you the interpretation and ask you to do A, B, C, and D in terms of how you should reach that particular threshold. But I think that it is all in all, it is good, because it's definitely going to solve some kind of problem.
Right.
But in the end, it's going to create some problem for the political parties, which may not augur well for them in terms of administrative cost and how to organize these elections. In the United States, they still have the delegate system. So I don't know how it became unconstitutional, if others who are not delegates, they are members of the party, they will have to take part in the process. But at the end of the day, maybe it will solve that particular mischief that has, reared its ugly head throughout the primaries that we've all witnessed over the years.
Well, let's look at the biggest winners and biggest losers out of this ruling. Who are the biggest losers and who are the biggest winners from this ruling?
I don't know. I cannot say whether it's the majority. The biggest winners will obviously be the plaintiffs. But you see, the political party, the leadership, will have to be very careful the way they communicate this particular issue, because if you're not careful and you incur the disenchantment of the delegates, that in itself could affect grassroots organization, because these individuals who are not executives, who are not occupying positions, right, of interest within the party, the only thing they will come and do is just to exercise their franchise and leave. It will now have to take those at the grassroots that you might have, created a problem for them by more or less not letting them feel that cocoa season period. Then who else is going to go into the bushes and the trenches to go and campaign for you? Maybe there may be another, motivation. And so the biggest losers, of course, will definitely be the delegates, because the cocoa season would have dwindled down. But as I said, if somebody still wants to win, that person can still look at a certain percentage of those who are on the register and still bribe their way through. Unless there are injunctions and then some prescriptions here and there that if those at the helm of the party are ready to implement. Other than that, this Supreme Court ruling would just be another, much ado about nothing.
Interesting point you make over there. Dr. Jonathan Asante-Okyere is a political analyst. Dr. Okyere, let's look at one more thing. One of the antidotes that the people who sent this issue to court wanted to cure was the vote buying in our electoral system at the party level. Many people feel that when we have a delegates system, it's easier to bribe a group of people, although they're not small, but at least relatively to the new numbers that they're expected to vote, that was much smaller. Do you think that this will be the antidote to curbing vote buying, or perhaps it might even get worse from here?
As to whether it could get worse, I cannot foresee that.
Okay.
It will just limit a lot more people who do not have deep pockets, right, to take part in the electoral process. It could enhance those with deeper pockets, right, to be able to still bribe their way through. And so, in as much as the Supreme Court intends to cure that particular mischief, of which the plaintiffs, right, wanted to cure, it may not be a foolproof thing that it will be cured. That is why I'm saying that anybody with deeper pocket and strategy will still, it is just that those who are going to be bribed would have been expanded. So there is that kind of disincentive. But why will somebody who is contesting with 5 other people or 6 other people want to bribe the entirety of the delegate, which would have been the expanded one? He would definitely go for a certain target. And that target will realize, you will see that he's definitely going to win if he targets about 45-50% of the delegate. So at the end of the day, there is the need for tighter, party prescriptions of behaviors or conduct that are considered as anti-party and that are affront to our democratic process. That is the only way by which this particular ruling, right, will be a noble one. Other than that, it is just that the number has been expanded and nothing else would have changed.
Don't go yet, Dr. Asante-Okyere. Haruna Mohammed is still with me. He is the Deputy General Secretary of the opposition NPP. Haruna, it's often said that the persons with the deepest pockets go the furthest in politics. With this new ruling by the Supreme Court, do you think it will curb the old age vote buying in internal politics?
Well, I may not be able to be very specific on these issues, but with this kind of new development, it opens up the democratic process. It also opens up the process to transparent issues, and then also making sure that a lot more people are given the opportunity to take decisions, just as we expanded our electoral college by way of limited expansion. But Kenneth, it's very important for me to make this particular point. When I listen to my brother, Tanko Rashid, I want to make reference to a program that has been organized by the IEA, the Institute of Economic Affairs. It was a symposium under the theme Party Perspectives on the Public Financing of Political Parties. This was attended to by the NDC, the MPP, the CPP, GCPP, PNC, and a host of others. And I want to state and quote Dr. Ni Joshua Aye, who was the General Secretary of the NDC at the time. He said, it will enhance, that is the public finance, political parties financing. He said, it will enhance the party's own credentials for democracy, particularly through fair and meritorious process, devoid of undue influence exerted by major donors. So in this particular situation, the National Democratic Congress, the NDC, had supported the funding of political parties. And not today, I'm quoting a news agency, that is the Ghana News Agency, the 7th of November 2003, a report of NDC stance on the support to political parties in terms of funding. So this is not new. I believe that we have had discussions on this particular matter, which I have participated, and the stance of the NDC also includes that political parties should be funded. It's not about political parties are being formed. If you have formed your corporate institution, you should be able to fund it. Yes, you should be able to raise funds. It's not saying that political parties should be given entirely money to do that, but government or state agencies should be able to support political parties in terms of funding. And I said what I said in relation to the expansion in terms of the cost element and the cost impact that is going to bring onto the state of the affairs of the political party. So this is not new. It's not about when you are in power, you are able to talk and say that because you are able to get some certain support from elsewhere. We have constantly in government and in opposition said that political parties should be supported in terms of how they have been managed. And again, if you talk about the monies that we collect from people with respect to their filing fees and what have you, cannot be able to withstand the pressure or financial pressure from the activities that has been done. And to be able to collate the data of all members and be able to get all of these things done, I think that the political party would need some certain kind of support. And I believe that at any point in time, I would stress this particular point. And let it be clear that political parties based on the Political Parties Act in Ghana are not profit-making organizations. They are not. And they are not supposed to engage in any income-generating activity. That is the law, and the law must be stated very clearly. So let us not use our strength in government to talk about issues that will affect you when you are in opposition or affect any other political party, a smaller political party. I think that when this thing is distinct enough, and I've been very vociferous on this, if political parties are independent of the government of the day, political parties can manage their affairs without the involvement of the government of the day. I think that the political parties will be more independent, because if you bring somebody in as president of the Republic of Ghana and you are able to fund your activities without requiring any support from the president at the time who leads your party, I think that you can call the shot and you can tell the president in his face that the political party that he belongs to does not support this particular activity. And I think that the independence of political parties must be stressed, and that is why I continue to state that political parties must be given the opportunity to run income-based activities to support their activities in running the affairs of the political party systems.
Haruna, don't go yet. Rashid Tanko Computer is still with me. Rashid, do you think this new ruling will curb the old age vote buying in our internal politics?
Well, if you look at the principle underlying the ruling today is to stop this monetization of our processes. And then clearly it's been an issue bothering every Ghanaian in this country, the issue of monetization. Opponents have incorporated it into their operation, MPP. They have created all this mess for us, monetization. You just saw it in January when they did their presidential primaries. They huge sums of money that will chain out all over the place. I mean, so we think that this will help sanitize the system.
But Rashid Tanko, to be fair to the MPP, though, it's not only in their party that this happens. We also saw it play out when Baba Jamal was contesting to enter parliament. We saw him in daylight, sharing television sets and all. So it's not different from what has been happening in the NDC, is it?
Well, he denied it. He said...
but we saw it. We all did see the TV sets.
He said it. That's why the party didn't take kindly to the report, and we investigated it and came out, well, as a political party, we abhor such a thing. We don't subscribe to it. And we always stand by our guns when it comes to matters of that nature.
Okay.
We take serious interest in matters of that nature as a political party because we are social democrats. We believe in the egalitarian distribution of resources and then allow people to exhibit their skills. And that is what the NDC is made of. And so for us, we believe this ruling is a welcome ruling. It's good. It will deepen our democratic culture. It will stop these monetization processes. And then the right candidates will come out from the contest. Because the party members from the branches will now decide who should be their candidate. Instead of just a few people who come and sit somewhere and behind the scene a lot of things are happening and they are holding everybody to ransom. This time it won't happen. The entire membership of the party will come out and vote. And now I'm happy. Yes, my brother make reference to Joshua Ayi. After that incident, we went into conclave, National Executive Committee meeting severally, and decided that, look, that position is not tenable. And that is why, since then, we've never even pushed a ruling government then, the MPP, when they were in office, to ask for any support whatsoever from them to run our activities. We always run our activities from then up to now, run our internal activities through membership drive and payment of dues. And it has helped us. It has worked well for us over the period. Although we are in government, as we speak now, we don't get any support from the government. We use our internal generated resources as a party. We did that and beat them in the last election, the 2024 election. We didn't get any support in terms of training our party, recruiting our party, logistics and all that. We mobilized ourselves and defeated them. A ruling government, they had all the resources that they could. And so, for us, the NDC, our position is very clear. Let's strengthen our internal mechanism, how to mobilize resources within the party to organize our activities, rather than thinking that we should use taxpayer money to run political party. I don't think it's the best. For now, though, I don't think it's best. If you think you cannot run a political party, abandon it, leave it, forget it. There are other parties who are doing it. And then so that we can have serious political party. If you can mobilize yourself very well to organize your activity, then what business do you have to take up the reins of governance? You are not coming to use state resources to organize yourself and all that. No, that is not the best. And we shouldn't encourage that. That is what, if you look at even the well-developed democracy in America, they don't do those kind of things. They are going to they mobilize themselves. They mobilize resources to run their destiny. The state is distinct from this kind of activity, and we shouldn't incorporate it at all. I don't think it's, and I'm sure Dr. Ochiri will buy into this. Why would the state look? We are grappling with problems of flood in Accra, road networks. We have problem with our educational sector. All these massive difficulties that we inherited from NPP, we are trying to resolve that. Why should we add another burden of bringing political parties into our fray, and then to think of getting them resources to go run their own activity? No, I don't think it's the best. This is not a time for people to be talking about that matter, and they should better stop that argument at all. This one is not an issue. When the NDC did it, we didn't use state resources. Nobody used state resources to help us to do that. The MPP, you did your election recently. You had enough money to spill during the presidential primary, where everybody saw it. If you had minded, they could have mobilized those resources down to help run their party. After you decided to do that kind of election, now they are now coming asking for state to help them. State to give them money to resource them to do. No. If they cannot do it, they chicken out.
Rashid, I want us to look at another topic that is generating a lot of conversation around the country. It is about President John Mahama's potential third-term bid. Of course, the president has denied it on several occasions that he's not going for a third term, but there are currently 3 suits at the Supreme Court challenging that the constitutional provision that bars the president from contesting beyond 2 terms. Already, the opposition MPP is saying that the governing NDC is the one behind those suits in the Supreme Court challenging that President John Mahama should be able to run for another term. And we're also hearing that within the NDC, there are some divisions there. There are people who are also lobbying for President John Mahama to indeed go for another term. What really is the situation in your party right now? Is John Dramani Mahama going to consider a possible third term?
I'm sure you answered yourself even initially. You said he denied it separately. I don't know what you said. You heard him loud and clear. But let me put this record straight. Those in the Supreme Court, Ken Karanchi is an MPP. He's a card-bearing member of the NPP. Ken Crunchy, he's there. He's one of those people over there. So why will the people ascribe this to NDC? Have you seen any NDC member in the Supreme Court on this matter? None. All those people they are talking about, they are not. They are not NDC members. The NDC has not sent any matter to court. They have not sent any of his members to go to court over matters of this nature. What we are much interested as of now is the research agenda manifesto, the implementation of the manifesto, and that is what we are doing. That is what is worrying us as a party for now, and government, to make sure that we implement our manifesto to the letter, so that the Ghanaians, the good people of Ghana will get to know that, look, this government that we voted, it was the right decision we took in putting them into office. They are implementing the manifesto, we are doing the right thing. This issue of what they are bringing is an NPP propaganda. It's NPP who are just doing all this propaganda, and we are not going to follow them into that kind of fray. We are not going to go into that fray with them. We don't want to be moved away from our core mandate of implementing our manifesto and doing the good what we are doing as a party and government. And so this argument is NPP propaganda, and we are not going to follow them into that.
Right. It comes to you, don't go yet. I have to go to Jonathan Asante-Okyere because he has to rush to the classroom. Dr. Okyere, what do you make of this third term agenda that is so topical across the country?
Well, let me say that Mr. Tanko rightly pointed out the issue. I am averse to political parties being financed by the state. I have an aversion towards that because that could easily create a mushrooming type of political parties and create problems for all of us. I don't think we need that. On the issue of the third term, I think that it's very controversial, and I don't think the president has a hand in it. The MPP, faithful have been going about saying that the president is looking for a third term. I don't think it's neither here nor there. The president has avowedly stated, without mincing words, that he's not interested in that. But the cynicism out of this is the fact that they say you have 2 terms to do. So whether it is consecutive or not, it is 2 terms. And so when you say the president wants a third term, that will be an aberration of the norm. Because how do you classify a third term as 2 terms? The person will have done 12 years anyway, if he's elected duly or if he's qualified. And so sometimes some of these issues that go to the Supreme Court for interpretation, it's as if it's a kind of entrapment. And I think that the legacy that the president intends to leave and how he is running the affairs of this country, I don't think that he will want to fall into this kind of temptation. And I think the earlier we drop something of that sort, the better for all of us. It all started from Mr. Afenyo-Marcus, who suggested that, well, the process for the removal of, Madame Tokono was because the president intended to have somebody that they can control and then definitely be or have a third term, bid. That was where this subject broke. And so it is just quite unfortunate that we'll be reasoning along that path. Look, our democracy is so tight, advocacy is so high that I do not foresee any individual president, now or later, thinking of anything of that sort. But we can still wait for what the Supreme Court will say. It is just a kind of a legal exercise that we may have to wait and see how it happens. But I wouldn't want to prejudice the case by suggesting that, it should go this way or that way. Right. It is just the word ambiguity, consecutive. So if the person did not have it consecutively, it's as if the person has not done any term at all. Besides, when we vote for you, we did not vote for you to go for 8 years. We vote for you for 4 years. Right. That's what the Constitution says. So 8 years is not a given. It's as a result of the hard work that you might have put in. And so what the president is doing now is a second term that will culminate in 8 years, giving him another or validating him or validating anybody else to have that kind of opportunity would be an aberration, if you ask me, of the Constitution.
Dr. Jonathan Asante-Okyere, grateful for your time this afternoon. He's a political analyst and the director of the African Institute of Strategic Studies. Haruna Mohammed is also with me. He's the Deputy General Secretary of the NPP. Haruna, many within your party have maintained and have doubled down that President John Mahama indeed wants to run for another term when this one expires. Do you share in those sentiments?
Kenneth, before I answer that question, I want to place this on record. As at 11th of May 2024, Kenneth Gyasi ceases to be a member of the New Patriotic Party.
Okay.
So for somebody to indicate that the one who filed the suit, Ken Gyasi, is a card-bearing member of the party is untrue, because he ceased to be a member of the New Patriotic Party the moment he indicated that he had left the party and cited certain reasons which was not attainable. So he's not a member of the New Patriotic Party.
Okay, so he left on his own accord. He wasn't expelled from the party, you say?
Yeah, he wasn't expelled. He left by himself after failing to get the parliamentary candidate nod of the party. He decided to leave with several accusations. And this is something that happens in several other parties. Guzitano is one of the examples from the NDC. So Ken Gyasi is not a member of the New Patriotic Party, and he is not a card-bearing member of the party, and he's not an active member of the party. That must be placed on record. Going on to the substantive question, with regards to the third term of His Excellency the President, I think that this is not a perception. This is something that they are working hard behind the scenes, and that has set subject in the end. I don't know where it comes from, because the artificial-led push has divided several facts, has created certain among them, because they are taking care and it's not taken.
Haruna, I'm losing you. I'm losing you. If you can kindly speak louder for me.
Yes, I am saying that they are still Ketia leadership. People who are in that particular leadership, the General Secretary himself and the National Chairman, are against the third term attempt of Excellency the President. And I don't know which side that Tanko belongs, because this is something that the party that frowns on. But the government is finding different ways to get it done. The more dangerous aspect is that the Constitutional Review Committee had made this thing very clear in their recommendations. Why is it that the President is not signing on to this particular report, making it available for all of us to discuss? Because we are all discussing the draft report. So if this is captured in the Constitutional Review Committee report, why is the President not? And why are people or individuals going and filing? You know, this is not, it's about three suits that are before the Supreme Court on this particular matter. So we know the shenanigans, we know the things that the NDC do behind the scenes to get this matter passed through or slip through. The President may be telling you by his mouth that he's not interested in the third term, but in his heart, he's very much interested.
How do you know what's in his heart, Haruna?
Yes, because certainly you look at his face. When the President was asked whether he has ever received bribe before, or whether he has been corrupt before, did you know the answer? The President smiled and said, me. Then he was asked again. Yes, then he asked as a human being, but the President knew that he was a human being sitting there. So as for the current President, for me, if he greets me good afternoon, I will check if the sun is there. If he greets me good morning, I will have to check. Because for me, for bit, I don't trust the President.
Okay, Haruna, don't go yet. Rashid Tanko Computer is still with me. Rashid, the MPP's Haruna Mohammed says he doesn't trust the President at all. And in fact, within the President's heart, that is according to him, he really is dying to run for another term.
Well, I don't know the soothsayers the MPP has brought into this country to go into the mind of the President and then the NDC. I'm sure they have some crystal ball they are watching inside to see the thinking of the President. Well, this is the President who is respected across the globe. You just saw it just last week or so, a number of African leaders came into the country to sit to talk about our health issues. As we speak now, yesterday, we had a Gabon president come. A lot of presidents, his peers are all over the place, running into the country to pay courtesy call on him and to learn good lessons from him. This is a president who is being earmarked to lead African Union anytime soon. So that tells you his clout. I mean, the respect that he has across the globe. And then so eternally, he's been respected. I mean, after he came in, a massive 57% unprecedented. And so with all this and with the support that he has with the people and the delivery he's given, I can assure you there are better days ahead. And that is what I'm saying, that for the party and government, we are interested in implementing our manifesto. But let me put it on record that tomorrow, the learned Attorney General will hold a press conference to present the position of government on the Constitutional Review Committee reports. I mean, the cabinet deliberated on the matter extensively. Government position will be made public tomorrow. After the presentation by the learned Attorney General, the whole report will be made public for the good people of Ghana to read.
Right.
So as to that one, my brother Haruna, hold your horses. Okay, let me say hold your elephants for tomorrow. Wait for the Attorney General to present government position on the Constitutional Review Committee. Let's wait and see. Why are they? The question I always ask them: why do they fear His Excellency John Dramani Mahama? They fear him a lot. Is it that the humiliation defeat he gave them in the last election, that they fear that should Ghanaians present him back again, they're going to give them hell of trouble? The man has spoken, so don't go into his mind. Let Ghanaians speak.
Right.
I mean, the issue is about the position of Ghanaians on this matter. It is not you and I to decide who should be going third term or not third term. It's the good people of Ghana. And so if the good people of Ghana so decide, I mean, we are here. We are all in this country. We want the betterment of the country.
But Rashid, how can the good people of Ghana decide when the Constitution is very clear? Article 66(2) is very clear.
That is what I'm saying. If it is the Constitution and the people are testing it, it is very clear. But you remember the president said it in Volta region, that to him, he hasn't seen anything wrong with the article. Didn't you hear him? The president mentioned it.
Of course, I mentioned earlier that he said it so many times.
Several times. He was very clear, but he said that. But he's not a lawyer. He's not a judge.
Right.
And that's when people have said it. That is their matter. That's their cup of tea.
Rashid, let's look at this.
You allow them.
Let's look at this. There are currently 3 suits before the Supreme Court. Let's look at this hypothetical scenario where the Supreme Court says, okay, I accept these suits that have been brought before us. President John Mahama can go for a 3rd term due to the arguments that have been presented against the apex court. Will the NDC support that?
You see, this is hypothetical. I'm happy you are saying hypothetical question.
Of course.
The NDC has not gone to court. The NDC has not gone to court with any matter of this nature. None of our members are in court with an issue of this nature. So for us, I would say we have not interest in this matter because we have not put in any effort in that matter. Our interest for now is to implement our manifesto. And we are doing just that.
And Rashid, I'll come in again because it's based on something. Just yesterday, your Deputy General Secretary, Mustapha Gbande, was on Prime Morning on Joy Prime, where he said that only the party can decide whether President Mahama should or should not run for a 3rd term. And he dismissed the claims by President Mahama. He said, and I'm quoting him verbatim, he says that it is the party NDC that controls President John Mahama and not the other way around. And also, we had a member of your legal team, NDC, Victor Adawudu, saying that within the party, there are divisions, there are people who indeed are calling for President John Mahama to go for a 3rd term. That is why I asked about that hypothetical scenario.
That's why I'm saying that matters of this nature. Yes, my Deputy General Secretary was on spot on. Because, you see, we have what we call the Functional Executive Committee that runs the party day-to-day activity in between National Executive Committee and Congress. Then we have the National Executive Committee. The president is a leader of the party as of now. He is a leader of the party. Now, what happened is that decisions of this nature are taken at the National Executive Committee, of which all the gurus of the party, from the regions and national, all sit together to take decision of this nature. And as we speak now, we've not held such a meeting. There's not been a National Executive Committee meeting to discuss matters of this nature. Indeed, the issue of parliamentary elections and presidential is not on the banner as of now, because that one will be done by the next National Executive Committee, not the current one. The current National Executive Committee doesn't have that power. Their power ends by 19th December. At that time, we would have elected a new executive, 19th December Congress. Then the new executives will now go in to sit and now deliberate as to the regulation for parliamentary and presidential election. And so all this, and that's what I'm saying, he was a spot on to talk about it. But now, the current national executive doesn't have that power to take any decision on that matter.
Right.
And that is why they came out with the decision debarring people who are in government from contesting national executive. It's within the power of the national executive currently.
Okay.
And that one, they will run the elections for constituency, regional to national. By December 19th, we would have concluded the affairs of the current executive. Then the new executive body now comes in to be dealing with matters that we are dealing. That's why we say it's not on the table. For now, the NDC is not worried with this thing. It's just NPP propaganda. They are just doing this propaganda and whipping and calling everybody to come and be talking matters which is not even on the table. See, we are barely 2 years into government, and we have chalked a lot of successes as a government.
Right.
Because we are focused, and we will continue to be focused on whatever Ghanaians want us to do. And that is what we are doing for now.
Okay. Rashid Tanko, Computer, thank you very much for your time this afternoon. He's the Deputy Director of IT and Elections with the governing NDC. Haruna Mohammed is still with me. Haruna, I want to give you the final words in a minute. Wrap up for us so that we wrap up this conversation. Let me pick your final thoughts. Hello, Haruna, do I have you? Unfortunately, we've lost Haruna Mohammed there. He's the Deputy General Secretary of the opposition NPP. Right, I understand we have him back on the line. Haruna, I want to pick your final thoughts on this conversation.
For me, you see, Rashid has dodged the discussion around what the Deputy General Secretary has said. He's saying that President Mahama cannot impose himself on the party until the party decides. He should have been commenting on that. But for him to say that because the NDC have not yet triggered the process of getting that done, then that should be the solution. I think that even the NDC cannot select or cannot choose President Mahama arbitrarily against the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana. We are talking about law. We are talking about position of the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana. We are not talking about the statute of the NDC. Secondly, what I would use to conclude here also is that I want my brother Tanko to know that when we talk about the funding of the political parties, we are not talking about who is rich. We are talking about making sure that we check corruption that is arising from the reliance on dubious sources of funding. So whether you are rich or you are what, then we need to put in measures to be able to check that. And also, one critical point that I want him to know, in the US or America, they are funding political parties. And you cannot say because political parties are to be funded, then they should close their offices if they cannot be able to manage their political parties. So these points must be straightened. We must discuss issues dispassionately. Make sure that we are discussing for others to be able to get the understanding and how it flows, but not because you have the financial muscle or strength today. Let's go to audit the NDC as a party. Where do they get their income from? The laws of this country bars them from making money or doing profit-making organizational activities. Where do they get the money from? Go and check the number of people that are paying dues in the NDC, whether the dues they are paying is what they are spending. So please, let us be very critical when we are making some of these particular discussions. I don't think that it is necessary for us to be debating this matter. Political parties need funding, and state organizations to lead to that, because the bigger democracies have done it. What about Ghana? Ghana can also do the same.
Haruna Mohammed, thank you very much for your time this afternoon. He's the Deputy General Secretary of the Opposition MPP. Earlier, we heard from Rashid Tanko Computer, who is the Deputy Director of Election and IT with the governing NDC. We also heard from Dr. Jonathan Asante Ochre. He's a political analyst. Let's now take you to the Oti region, where some residents have also reacted to the Supreme Court ruling earlier today, allowing all registered members of a political party to be allowed to vote in any elections.
I think if indeed this decision has been made by the Supreme Court on behalf of the New Patriotic Party, then this is coming as a big relief, a capital relief to the MPP itself, because it has taken away the huge problem that the party is confronting in terms of monetization, in terms of not giving the right to the grassroots to participate fully as a democratic party. If everybody, every registered member of the party indeed is given the chance to go exercise his franchise to select and elect who should lead us, that would have been the best thing. That is what I believe should be called democracy, because everybody is given a fair privilege to go and select it or his leader. I think that is the best thing the Supreme Court have ever done for New Patriotic Party. If all other parties will do the same thing, then partisanship will move forward.
If the Supreme Court happens to be a woman being like, I will carry him shoulder up. Because this thing has been worrying us too much. Delegate system become a system that people use to manipulate. And that's the cause and the root of some petty issues in all the political parties. So when they rule it out that every card-bearing member in good standing can vote, it's top up. I like that, and kudos to them. That's the reason why I say I like it that they made it that all card-bearing members should vote. Go with that, you can pay. How many people can you pay? But with the delegate system, somebody can, let's say, account constituency, if you have, let's say, 1,500 delegates, somebody can easily hijack or go and hire some 800 or 900 people and pay to them. But with this system, you can pay.
Well, to many in the Ashanti region, the New Patriotic Party's journey to restore its dominance largely depends on who emerges as its regional chairman in the upcoming party elections. Following the party's vetting process, the race for the chairmanship position is now between Odeneho Kwekuapia and Henry Kwabena Kokofu, both astute and influential members of the party in the Ashanti region. As the candidates intensify their campaigns, Nana Yaojima puts the spotlight on the vision and plans of both aspirants to restore the glory of the party in the region.
The Ashanti region remains the NPP's political stronghold, delivering a significant chunk of the party's votes in every general election. In elections won by the party, the region's contribution has always been decisive. The Ashanti region contributed over 1.6 million votes to the party's victory in 2016 and increased that to 1.79 million votes in 2020. However, a dip to 1.3 million votes in 2024, representing 63%, is widely cited as one of the key reasons for the party's defeat at the national level. To many, the next regional chairman will have to heal the wounds of aggrieved supporters and galvanize efforts to restore the waning enthusiasm for the party. Dr. Henry Kwabena Kokofu says unity is his top priority.
One of the major canker that is worrying us is disunity. So once we're able to bring people together through reconciliation. There are times I will recommend for professional negotiators and mediators to come on board to be able to resolve some of these empire.
His opponent, Odeneho Kwekuapia, says his first step towards the restoration of unity has been engagements and visits to churches across the region.
We are also going to work together. We will decide together. We will think together. We will enjoy together. We will suffer together. We are going to protect and defend our party constitution also together.
The former EPA Chief Executive, Dr. Henry Kwabena Kokofu, is also focused on mobilizing Ashanti members who are currently living in other regions to support the rebuilding efforts. A key part of his agenda will be to fiercely resist any attempt to cause disaffection towards the party's flag bearer, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia.
We will not allow anymore the disgrace and all those misinformations, insults that were held on to him in the previous past. We will not allow that. We will go on the tangent where we will attack if necessary. We will go on the tangent where we will defend when necessary. We will not leave any stone unturned.
On the other hand, Ordeno Kwekuapia is committing to win back parliamentary seats lost to the NDC in the last elections if given the nod as chairman.
I am coming to lead Ashanti region for us to do everything possible, for us to do everything legally possible to increase our presidential votes, increase our parliamentary seats so that we can win election 2028.
With both parties projecting unity, mobilization and electoral gains as their core messages, delegates in the Ashanti region face a crucial choice in the NPP regional executive election. For Joy News, Nana Ojima, Kumasi.
The pause returns after this break. Don't go anywhere.
Cadbury hot chocolate, crafted from cocoa, milk, and sugar. Creamy, chocolatey, frothy goodness, rich taste, so satisfying.
Cadbury goodness, the treats you deserve every day.
Another week is here on the greatest of all time show. My name is Giovanni Clip, and tonight we're bringing you talent. Contestant number one, let's bring baby girl. Let's bring. He did it for you.
Cut. Oh, there is a leakage.
Where's the plumber?
For quality and durability, insist on Syntex pipes.
If you want quality, this be where you belong.
Strong, tough, and reliable. Your perfect match to your trusted Syntex pipe. Syntex pipe, it dey carry water, no wahala.
Syntex pipe, it dey make water dey flow. Syntex, and you're strong, and you're tough.
Palladium Residences in Achimota isn't just an address, it's the home you truly earned. Secure your place with just a 10% deposit and choose from beautifully designed modern apartments or spacious townhouses built for everyday comfort. This is more than a building. It's a vibrant, curated community with a clubhouse, state-of-the-art gym, and an on-site hotel, all at ABC Junction, minutes from Achimota Mall. Enjoy city energy while retreating to your private sanctuary. Call now to reserve your unit and benefit from limited launch incentives, including priority unit selection, executive pricing, and flexible payment options available. Don't miss the chance to pick the best homes. Book your private site visit today. Call 050-9823-424. Palladium Residences. Live smart, invest better.
Let's shout for joy.
As the historic sesquicentennial celebrations roll on, Infante Pim invites all old boys, associates, and the general public to the prestigious second Infante Pim 150th anniversary lecture. This is not just a lecture, it is a masterclass for national transformation. Addressing a nation at a crossroad, we are honored to present the distinguished Dr. Mohammed Ibn Chambers, renowned international diplomat and statesman. He will be dissecting a theme critical to our collective future, educating for peace, democracy, democracy and responsible citizenship. Date Wednesday, 29 July 2026. Time 5:30 p.m. prompt. Venue the Accra Ridge Church Hall. To every old boy, every partner, every citizen who believes in the future of Ghana and Africa, this is where you need to be. Block your diaries, clear your schedules, make it your #1 priority. Join the conversation that shapes tomorrow. Infante Pim at 150. Vin Shekan.
Hi, now let me share my wildlife experience with you at Safari Valley Eco Park.
Welcome to Safari Valley Eco Park.
Our electric shuttle pulled up and in no time our tour began. We were surrounded by wildlife from the moment we entered the Eco Park. We were greeted by experienced tour guides who took us through orientation and how to better enjoy the experience. Watch these animals roam freely in their natural habitat undisturbed by our presence. We saw zebras, sable antelope, brown cranes, mara, silky chicken, nyalas, Shetland ponies, and so many animals I just couldn't keep up. Our tour guides taught us so much about the wildlife, their behavior, and how to interact with them. I even fed them. We also went fishing on a man-made canal. Then we took a break to have lunch in this serene environment. All this amazing experience for this price for adults? This price for teenagers. It's a bargain. As the sun began to set, it was time to go back home, but not before dinner by the campfire. It has been a thrill of a lifetime, and I can't wait till my next visit.
Safari Valley Eco Park, bringing you closer to nature.
NS Chemist Limited. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Upgrade your print game with Konica Minolta, proudly powered by SkySat Technologies. From all-in-one machines that print, scan, and copy to professional systems and heavy-duty production machines, we deliver unmatched performance. Right now, SkySat has an unbeatable offer. 1 entire year of free servicing on all Konica Minolta machines. That's 12 months of expert maintenance for new and existing customers. Visit our new VIP print center at Pegasus Place, Airport Residential Area for a live demonstration. Call us on 050-164-5180 or 0302-798-829. Again, it's 050-164-5180 or 0302-798-829. SkySat Technologies. Performance that delivers every time.
Hello again. For years, thousands of Ghanaian law graduates competed for limited spaces at the Ghana School of Law, leaving many qualified students unable to continue their professional legal training. Well, that landscape is now changing under the Council for Legal Education's transitional reforms, with selected institutions, including GIMPA, approved to run the new pre-bar program. At the same time, GIMPA is expanding its legal education pipeline from LLB admissions to both senior high school graduates and degree holders to specialized LLM programs designed to prepare lawyers for emerging areas such as international trade, dispute resolution, and international criminal justice. Well, joining me in the studio to discuss what these changes mean for aspiring lawyers is Nana Afrakuma Bosuo, who is the registrar at the GIMPA Law School, and also Desmond Israel, who is the head of department at the Public Law and Governance at GIMPA Law School. Lady and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining me in the studio this afternoon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Of course, I'll begin with a lady. We know that Gimpa Law School has been running since 2010, and both SHS leavers and first degree holders are admissible. For viewers who are thinking about September admissions, what exactly are the requirements they need to have?
Well, thank you very much. For the September admissions, we have currently just finished with our interviews for the post-degree LLB applicants. So we have sent them the admission forms, and we are in the process of preparing our timetables to receive them. But because of the transition from the WASI February intakes to September, we are also considering taking a few WASI students for our September intake. So we will publish it for people to enroll for themselves or for their wards. Usually the September evening and then day program, that is the post-LLB, are for people who already have first degrees.
Right.
Yes, so, but the WASI is for those who have their WASI certificates. However, we have O and A level holders who also enroll.
Talking about the evening program, Desmond, let me come to you. We know that that requires an entrance examination before you are admitted. Many will ask why that, and also why are people who might look good, as in they look like they qualify, be able to meet the requirements and then end up not qualifying? What happens?
Right, thank you. So the entrance exam is set around logic and math, and then current affairs. So for the applicants, we use that to test if getting back into the classroom is something that they are ready to do. For the purposes of the interview, the need for appearance, of course, is a law school. So we have a structured requirement of the kind of candidates that we are looking for. The interview also sets them apart in terms of whether they really appreciate some of the basics. I remember the last interview, some of the structured questions that we have had to do with, you know, the parliamentary system, for instance, right? You know, the district system, who is even the speaker. And you'll be amazed to know that we have candidates who could not even decipher some of these things.
Wow.
Yes. And so you're getting ideas, right?
Yeah. I was about to ask what are some of the questions you asked?
and I intentionally brought it up because it's really not repeated year on year. So there is that aspect of trying to appreciate if the student really understands or the candidate understands the environment. And then there's the part that we call the stress test, which pretty much tries to find out if this is a student that is going to get into the mood of constant reading, constant bombardment with case reviews and things like that. But it is not a law content based interview, because their presumption is that they are not lawyers.
Right.
They are now going to be law students. So the questions can be from all corners, but I can tell you that they usually come around within the environment which we operate. And then also on the CVs that they submit.
Okay, that's quite interesting. I'm on your website now, and your own website is warning applicants to beware of people who offer to help them gain admission for a fee. How widespread is that? And how should somebody go about it if they encounter such a situation?
So the couple of days we had people come up to say that they had people encouraging them to pay certain amounts of monies so they would be enrolled on our programs. So immediately we sent communication around, and then we also have a channel. We have a WhatsApp channel that we usually post such immediate interventions. So I think people should report it if they should encounter such experiences. And then also we are putting in place security measures. He says cyber security pro.
Oh, fantastic.
So that we handle such cases.
Law is very expensive. In fact, both of you affirmed that to me when we went on a break here. What does an LLB at Gimpa cost? to a student? And is there any scholarship or payment arrangement for students who can't pay upfront? Would you take that, Desmond? Registrar, would you take that?
So I think education in itself is expensive.
It is.
Yeah, and if you want a good thing, you have to pay for it. But I would, we do not have currently scholarship. However, we have the Student Fund Trust that supports...
Student Loan Trust Fund.
Okay. Yes. And I just spoke to them 2 days ago, and they mentioned that they have brought on board Student Plus. So for our students who cannot afford the fees, they can sign up on the Student Plus, and after 2 years after work, you can, after 2 years after finishing the program, you can pay. However, I made them aware that there's no way a law student after a 4-year or 2-year program will be in the position to pay, because they will have to enroll now pre-bar program, or previously the Ghana Law School, the professional program. So they have to relook at it, just as they have relooked at it for the medical students and the architects. So they are looking at it that way. But for our LLB, you have to have, for the post-degree LLB, between 26 and 30,000 should take you through.
That's per what?
Per year.
Per year.
Per year.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, and then for the WASI, that is the secondary school entrance, you should have about 15,000 per year.
Okay.
Then the LL, we are looking at about 30,000 plus.
Per year.
For a year.
Okay, so let's look at it. The LLB is what, 20 to 30,000?
Yes.
For how many years?
For a year.
For a year.
For a year.
It depends. Okay.
I mean, the duration of the fee is per year.
Right.
I understood the question to mean the
duration of your program. Yes.
It depends.
Yeah. It depends.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you were to come in with the post-first degree,
right,
you would be in school either 2 years or 3 years.
Okay.
So if you take the 2-year part, it's quite intensive.
Right.
You literally spend your entire day in school.
Exactly.
And then there's a 3-year where you get to go through in the evening. Right. And then we have the 4-year that allows the mainstream WASI holders to come on board. Yeah.
Okay. And then we know also that you run a 1-year LLM with 3 specializations. That is international trade.
Actually 4.
4. Okay. So I have 3 here. International trade and business law, dispute resolution, and international criminal law and justice. What's the last one?
The general LLM.
Okay. So who is that degree actually for, and what does it do for a career?
Well, so for starters, so long as you hold a LLB, you've done some work in the industry, then you're definitely a candidate for graduate school.
Okay.
And so that makes that master's option a very good one for you. But if you're somebody who does a lot of commercial trade, interactions. So, for instance, you have interest in Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement.
Right.
You're looking at W Trade Organization, GATT, things like that. Then I'd say that the trade and the investment and trade LLM, it's a very good one for you. It doesn't matter if you're already a practicing lawyer. It's an advanced degree. You specialize.
Right.
For people who are more focused on dispute resolution, then the dispute resolution law and practice is quite an interesting area for them. General LLMs are, if you ask me, people who are more focused on academia, or those of us who like read any and everything. Yeah, we want to be in school, exactly. Yeah. Then you get to pick up a cocktail of things and then and take it up on from there. The international criminal law and justice is more focused on people who are dealing with criminal law, human rights, and anything in between. It has an internship connected to the ICC, so it's quite an interesting.
Right. In fact, I was going to come to that. So how many people have gone to ICC, the International Criminal Court? How many have been able to go there?
I can give you the cohorts. Like 4 cohorts have been there.
Okay.
4 cohorts have been there. And then the ICC intern also has a structured virtual intern.
Okay.
So whilst you're in school, you actually intern under somebody at the ICC. So you're drafting documents, you are sitting in proceedings, and things like that. But then the trip to the ICC to now familiarize with the environment is something that in the past, maybe 4 or 5 cohorts since we started the LLM, they've all been there. And usually an LLM class would be probably between about 20 to about 30 students.
Okay, interesting. There's a public perception that LLMs in particular are revenue programs for universities. I mean, you admit second class lower holders, even third class in exceptional cases. How do you defend that?
Well, is it a defense? I'm wondering.
I mean, why?
I would take a shot at that as well after her.
I think that for LLM, we believe that most people have gone out from school and have practiced and have the requisites. They have built the rigor to help them come back and develop their skills. And it's an interactive session. It's a platform where it's not just about classroom learning, it's also about sharing ideas, it's about networking. And so you give people the opportunity, because after school, yes, they might have had a pass, they might have had a third class, but they have gone out there to show their worth. And for those who have pass, who sign up, it's not just pass right after school. You should have a 5 years plus experience with recommendation. And then you have your statement that you attach. For some, they go through interviews. So it helps us know that you have just not come back. Because sometimes for the LLB, some people struggle with the program. But then we know that when it comes to practice, they give their best shot. So you give them the opportunity.
Desmond, you said you want to say something.
Yes. I mean, it's always the case that people take a swipe at graduate school. But I can tell you that the numbers we take at GIMPA LLM are quite, if you like, specific and limited. Yeah. We don't take a class more than 50, for instance. So if it's just a revenue mill, then you can create avenues to just collect the money. And I can also tell you that not everybody comes to the GIMPA LLM and graduate. Yes, exactly. We do have a rigorous process for our thesis, and I'm sure if you have listeners who have been through the mill, they will tell you we want papers that can actually be justified. Some of our papers have gone before the WTO. We've had, policy position on some of these things. So I guess the point I'm trying to say is, yes, you can look at the bigger market of graduate school, which undeniably tends to come out as though, it's a revenue stream for people. But I'm saying this to make the point that you don't walk to GIMPA law thinking that because you paid money, you are going to get out with the LLM. There is a system that you have to go through, right? And it's rigorous, rightly so.
Let's look at the pre-bar. So GIMPA, as we all are aware, is one of the 19 faculties approved by the GLC and GTech to run the pre-bar course. Yeah. I mean, let's pretend we are surprised. When does that start, and how many students can you take? And are you running it independently or jointly with the Ghana School of Law?
Well, they are the mother school, so we cannot disconnect our umbilical cord from them. However, we are running it as GIMPA.
Okay.
We are looking at evening program. We are looking at day program for those who have just come out from school and are not working. And we are actually working with management to consider a weekend program for those who have rigorous, busy schedule during the week.
Right.
So we are starting in September. We've just started admissions, so we've had people calling in. We are really late.
Right.
We've started admissions.
Right.
And we hope to take about, is it 700? Yeah. We had actually...
In between 700 and 1,000.
Yeah, we had about 2,000 applications, but we hope to take about 700.
Wow. Amazing. And under the old system, more than 4,000 graduates sat the entrance exam each year, and only a fraction got in. So will GIMPA admit backlog of students who did their LLB elsewhere? And how do you decide between if you are oversubscribed, Desmond?
Right, so currently we build a capacity both from classroom to the admission process around the numbers of between 700 to 1,000.
Okay.
And then our most recent graduates were just about 213, 214. So those you have to take back in, because even the policy position is that we are supposed to absorb all our students back into the pre-bar stream. So granted that is your automatic numbers. For GIMPA, we are left with about 500 to maybe 800 to play around with. That's a big, if you look at the numbers that you're churning from, that gives us opportunity to go for both alumni and people who are coming from other schools for the purposes of the pre-bar. And I can say from my office that even today, when the admissions started, we were also admitting from people with degrees from other schools, just not to mention them.
Yeah. Wow, amazing. And we also know that you will be running the pre-bar course under the transitional program of the CLET.
Right.
When does that one also start?
So the transitional program is running.
Okay.
It's actually running. So that's why she mentioned the September.
Right.
Because what the CLET wanted us to do was, once they graduated, you bring them back into the training stream. But they are not coming in as law academic. They are coming in as law professional. So it is the transitional program in the policy discussion is what you call the pre-bar course. Because the law per se does not define pre-bar course.
Right.
This is an administrative decision by the authorities that instead of waiting for everything else to go through before you accredit the full law training, which you call the law practice training under the new law, we are going to run a pre-bar course. And that pre-bar course is going to allow students who have graduated and then, as you mentioned, the backlog, for them to be able to come back into the stream again, get it done before they go and take the LPT.
Nanu, there are a number of law schools across the country, a number of them. You are aware of it. Why should somebody choose GIMPA Law School?
GIMPA Law School, we are winning moods almost every time when we go for Africa moods, even across the ocean.
What is moot?
Moot is, would you want to take it?
So these are competitions that are built around certain legal decisions.
Right.
The idea is to test the law from a law student's perspective. So you get to participate in these moot competitions. Then you are able to test whether you are really delivering to your students. So very recent one is the Supreme Court 150th anniversary moot competition. We are also in Cote d'Ivoire right now for the Crest of Inns competition on the African human rights. Which we've won before like 2-3 times, but I guess that's not the only reason why you should come to GIMPA Law. Let me tell you, GIMPA Law has the youngest faculty, one that you can find on literally every facet of experience today. Talk about the judiciary, talk about practice, talk about industry. We do have the faculty for that. Again, no law school has given you more flexibility in terms of getting access for your legal education than GIMPA Law has, and we continue to do that. We were the first to innovate law and tech in an LLB program, and we still do have it. We teach ethics at our LLB program. We give you 3 different streams, a 2-year, a 3-year, and a 4-year. I could go on and on.
A day and an evening.
A day and an evening as well, So GIMPA Law School gives you the variety that you actually want that no other law school gives to you, and that's a fact.
Then it appears that GIMPA Law School is the Lionel Messi of law schools in Ghana.
Yes. Some people might not be too happy if they belong to the other side.
Oh, no.
So let's stand in the middle.
No, you are the Lionel Messi, okay?
And we expect your form very soon.
Don't worry. Don't worry. It will come. And this one, Winston Taki extends his greetings.
Oh, amazing.
Right. Okay. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Nanu Afrakuma Botuo is the registrar at the GIMPA Law School, and Desmond Israel is the head of department at the Public Law and Governance at GIMPA as well. Thank you once again for passing through.
Thank you very much.
And 1 month after the floods and heavy rains hit parts of the capital, we assess the lasting impact on residents whose homes, livelihoods, and daily lives were disrupted. In Accra, Alogboshi residents say they are still grappling with the consequences of the floods, with some highlighting the damage suffered and the challenges they continue to face. My colleague Stephen Mensah has more.
So we're coming to you live from Alogboshi, and this community will be one of the hardest hit on June 29 when there was some heavy rains here in Accra. And that will be the level of the water here in Alogboshi, and it's still there, it's still marked on the buildings, and from what we've seen so far, it's marked on most of the buildings here. You will notice that when you get in this community, some of the discarded items are still on the streets. We've seen some of the silted sand in the drain still on, and the Member of Parliament has been telling us, and the Assemblyman, I beg your pardon, has been telling us about the fact that he wants government to act proactively in ensuring that the silted sand is done quickly, and he's been talking about some other development he would want done in this community to prevent any further loss of life or properties when there's another raid. And it's just interesting because 1 month down the line, it's still cloudy, and we understand that there's a chance of rain. And should there be any rain, these residents are at risk because, from what we understand, the drains are closed, and if there's to be a chance of rain over here, it's going to overflow and flood the community again. I'd get close to some of the residents who live here to pick their thoughts on what they want done and what has been done so far for them. But then, so far, we know that some 9 persons lost their lives here in this community. Some also lost some items. In fact, we've seen some of the buildings that were broken down or broke down because of the rain. We've also seen some structures also go down because of the rain. But then over here we have the lady who lost her children due to the rain, the flood. I just want to speak to her briefly. Auntie, good afternoon. Bibi aboko.
Trying.
Let's just say Bibi aboko. Send a name muti asise.
You need Bibi o. It's me grandma.
What's it?
Many Bibia or me grandma.
Mate. But see, then or my catro.
Oh, we are carrying a MP, say. Na Assemblyman say, yeah, where are we?
But Ubiaba, Oba.
I show Mubako. Assembly so Abba.
But which miss you on Colana yet, Anna?
Pacho come again.
Have you been able to bury your children yet?
Pacho Labi.
But then, have you received any items also? But first, I want you to take me to how was the day 1 month on Utimika near sea and Sana is unit on Utimika training.
Pacho,
then is here.
Pacho, Tamas your neighbor, and I'm a friend in Banese. So about them to moon solid. Na ye jina ho kakra nti me di omo agina table so me wo ho ahase no 5 years ni nsuo anra me dem da ti manya ma adwin se ebe se ya ade se mame so omo jina ho am so ebi enso ni ba ko a na ya pepa dem de ma hu no se preoccupation so na bo ara ho ana ye fiura ni se ede yemba de next years yempie free me dem na yonko de next years ntun jaye krombe bua me na ya pepa den amesiu ana omuji me ne member no na yeko de next years ti ye wo ho be 5 minutes na me curious na eko na me ye dede so obi bua me na be curious na eko ana musu ye bia Andrew baby, a Mako choki or baby tea, a jayakura, yakoshe, and I miss you. Tia woho, me ye dead in Sam, we all obey 15 minutes, and a dying be a obiant, a dying dada, and a bugu. Another curiosity, so baby, I ate a one curiosity, a dioko.
For most people, buying shoes is about style, color, and price. But for those with plus-size feet, the search often ends in disappointment. Their sizes are scarce, the options limited, and the few available pairs far more expensive. In Joy News' feature titled "A Walk in My Shoes," Michelle Latte walks us through the struggle of finding shoes that fit.
Yes, you need 50, 60, 70.
Shopping for shoes should not be this difficult. At least, that's what I tell myself every time I step into a shoe market. Today, I'm back at Tema Station, and just like every other visit, I arrive hopeful because somewhere among these hundreds of shoes, there might be a pair that fits. For many women, shoe shopping is about finding something they like. For me, it's about finding something that fits. I wear size 44, which means before I think about style, color or price, I first have to answer a more basic question. Do they have my size? So small. Tema Station is one of those places where many people come hoping to find a good pair of shoes without spending too much. After minutes of searching, I call for help. Pounds has sold shoes here for years. One look at my feet and he gives an answer that sounds all too familiar. Eventually, I leave without buying anything. I've learned to laugh about it, but sometimes it gets frustrating. Something as simple as buying a pair of shoes comes with more effort, more time, and sometimes more money than it should. For women with big feet like mine, every shopping time becomes another struggle. The next day, I decide to try my luck elsewhere. This time, I head to one of Accra's biggest shoe boutiques. If there's anywhere I should be able to find my size, surely it is here. I spot a red pair and immediately fall in love with it. The color, the design, the heel, everything. Hello, can you help me here?
I don't think this fits me. Let me check the size for you. This is 42. Please, what size you?
I wear 44.
44.
Yes, but I would have loved this same design.
Actually, this design is at 42. That's the biggest size we have so far.
Oh, too bad.
I understand what you are going through. There are so many people who go through this. There are some that were even 52. They come here for their shoes, so you are not the only one. There was a time a customer was just standing by the gate. She didn't get her size, but she couldn't leave.
I have heard all kinds of assumptions about people with larger feet, so I wanted to understand what actually determines foot size. Dr. Lukman Ahmed says the answer is often simpler than people think.
One major thing is the genetics or hereditary. So, for example, if your father, your mother has a bigger foot size, it's likely you would also inherit that gene.
Over time, you learn to brush off the comments and laugh along with the jokes. But that doesn't mean they don't stay with you. Because when people constantly react to your shoe size, it is easy to start feeling self-conscious about something that should not matter in the first place.
Beauty, they say, is in the eyes of the beholder. It doesn't necessarily mean that when you have a bigger foot size, it determines how beautiful you are. It depends on what you consider as beautiful. So I think that such women shouldn't look down upon themselves. Rather, if they think that they were having a certain foot size and suddenly it has become bigger, then they should come to the hospital and we'll check them out and see whether there is any explanation medically for such a sudden increase. And if there is, we can always give medication or solve it.
After all this, I still haven't answered the question I came here with. Did I find the perfect pair of shoes? Maybe. But if this journey has taught me anything, it is that there's nothing unusual about my feet. The challenge was never my size. It was finding a world that makes room for it. Michelle Lati, Joy News, Accra.
Well, let's now go to the central region where Shama SHS survived a dramatic late scare to book a place at the 2026 National Science and Maths Quiz Competition, holding on to an early lead despite failing to answer any question in the riddle round.
I feel like Merlin. I feel like Merlin. We play to outline the flag with God as I am. Victory shall be surely ours.
Come, how is the feeling like?
Madam, in everything, you need to give thanks to God, you know.
Yeah.
Before we were coming, had prayers, and I knew God would listen to us. And he surely, in our school, all our teachers tell us, no, we can never fail. Everything is possible. You know, we are from Tadi. But the way I'm very happy, I don't speak fancy, you know. I'm giving all thanks to God. But now but tell me not Tadi fancy, no, about trust.
Madam, on the phone. Boy. On your battery. 100 by 100. And we now, I'm way to go. And we are
excited and amazing, and then we are proud of them because they really they place much effort inside because it was not easy. And then even when we were coming crowd, they were even afraid, and then we told them
I knew we were in it. I really knew it.
Inshallah.
Madam Laston. We did them like Coach Carlos Cross. How play assistant for Ghana Blaster at the World Cup. You know, at the first stage, we were relaxing, but I think they were very shambolic performance or something, so we were very easy ourselves, you know. Shama, I like it. I love it. Shama, I like it. I love it. Shama, I like it. I love it.
Well, from the central region, let's head to the Ashanti region now, because after sitting at the bottom of the table in the opening round, Islamic SHS mounted a remarkable comeback to urge Aguna SHTS by a single point, securing a 41-40 victory and booking their place at the 2026 National Science and Maths Quiz Championship. Here's the team after the contest.
So there you have Islamic Senior High School. They just completed their contest, qualifying with 41 points. Just a single point difference from what Aguna SHS got. Let me speak to some of the teachers who are with the team right now. So how are you feeling currently?
Oh, I'm so happy, but just that it was a tough contest. In fact, it wasn't easy for us, but all thanks to Almighty God for helping us through this contest. We thank God. That's what I will say.
Definitely, you are going forward to the national stage. Why are your contestants? You are here. You are going forward to the national stage, and you are going to meet a lot of other schools, just like today. What went on here? It's just a 1 point difference. Mind you, Aguna can have a chance again should they qualify in the next contest that is going to happen. But what should we look forward to seeing from your team?
Oh yeah, starting from our trials and everything, we thought that we can even amass a lot of points, but it didn't happen that way. Contest has its own dynamics, and I believe we are going to do homework well and we come back better.
Let me come to your girls. They've been telling me that they are so happy with this. I've been hearing some of them shouting, this one is not AI, it is what? Yes. So, how would you describe the contest to you? Was it fierce for you? Did you think that you were going to win at the beginning of the contest, even at round 3?
I was actually nervous about the contest because the way it started giving us less hope. So when it came to the final part or in the middle, that's the place we now had the hope. So it made us happy.
Okay, so you're the school prefect, I understand. So what does this win mean to you as a school prefect? You came here with your team and you've won.
Yes, please, we win not just an opportunity, not by just an opportunity, but we win and we continue to win again.
Oh! Okay, so he says they continue to win. You've been telling your team something. I want to hear you.
Okay, at the starting, we were losing hope. I was even crying, and my friends was even convincing me to stop crying. But due to our prayers, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't fail us. She let us qualify. Oh, Takbir!
And that's all for Pulse this evening. Thank you very much for being a part of the show. For more news, remember you can log on to myjoyonline.com. My name is Kenneth Gyasi. Have a good evening.
This is Let's Talk Showbiz, and today I'm here right here on your screen, and it's going to have a very beautiful conversation. Look, I just was this gentleman about some few months ago. Even before the few months ago, I was actually following his Instagram page. I saw it like a sponsor ad on Instagram, and I just went to check on this guy. Look, many up and coming artists, they have their own identity and their own particular kind of brand, but this guy's brand is just authentic. I saw Manifest, jam to one of his songs. I saw he himself, sing one of the beautiful songs I love so much. I'm trying hard to even pinpoint some of the lyrics in the song. I don't know what exactly he was trying to say, but it has become one of my top priorities when it comes to my playlist. And I have him here. I will mention the name wrongly, but he showed me how to mention the name, and part of me being Gar, got to know and got to understand it. So it's Noche. And when we say Noche, do you understand what Noche means? Well, you're not, is it? You know what I'm saying? So I have Noche with me right here, and we're going to talk entertainment right here on Let's Talk Showbiz. If I don't work for it, it's made this way. That's how me know me. I feel work and pressure. Me need to also go and boost. You ask for money and your daddy provide.